I'll be started. Unmute us. We can start in a moment.
Guys, we're gonna start in just a minute. Did you get the CereNet stuff?
I don't have a package, but I know what we need to do.
Okay. Okay.
Oh,
You get
good.
also a nice pen.
We have the same
We
thing.
have the same pen.
Well, do we?
We do.
Mine says Grand Dealer.
Oh, mine says Sharpie. All right, so it's 6 o'clock. So are we recording?
We are recording and we are unmuted.
Okay.
It should be good to go.
Cool. Awesome. Well, thank you guys for being here, and thank you for everyone who's online. Hi, Dana. Hi, Doug, and hello, Paul. So we do have quorum with 4 of us. Wait, 5 of us here. Awesome. So I'll go ahead and call the meeting of the Celebration Residential Owners Association Communications Committee to order at 6 o'clock on Monday, June 3rd. Liz, has the meeting been properly noticed?
Yes, it has.
Awesome. So then the first thing we'll go ahead and do is review and approve the May meeting minutes. So I'll take a motion to approve the minutes. They were sent out via email. It was a couple days ago.
Friday.
Yep, Friday.
So maybe it went to the celebration email, is that right?
I think
And not to
most
my personal one?
Yeah.
most emails are going to your celebration one. If you want though, you can have your personal one added to the distro. I have both of mine on there just in case, but yeah, right now, if you don't have, if you haven't requested your personal to receive it, it's going to your town hall one.
Yeah, that's why I didn't read them. So I could,
No worries.
Would you like me to add your personal?
please,
To the
yes,
distro? Okay.
because it's just, I'm on it all the time for work and other things, so it's just hard to get to the other one.
Okay.
I'll try to be more diligent about that.
Oh, I just saw Doug popped up an FYI. Or he popped up a note in Teams. You can't hear it?
I am having problems with my.
Oh, okay. Thanks, Doug. We got your message.
You can, Doug, if you keep messaging, then I'll have you up on my phone here.
But I guess with the meeting minutes, Diana or Doug or Fabiola, were you able to review them?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Do you guys have any questions, comments, anything?
I don't.
Then from anyone, I'll take a motion to approve them. Thank you, Doug.
I'll make a motion to approve the minutes from the meeting.
Thank you, Diane. Do I have a second?
Yes.
Okay, and Fabiola second. Okay. And then I know we just did our discussion, so then call the question. All those in favor
Aye.
of approval? Am I? And I'm assuming Doug is, since he had no issues. And then we'll make sure, Tony, to get your
Yeah, no worries.
stuff set up.
No worries.
Cool. Then with our meeting minutes approved, we can go into discussion items, which the first one is the SMS SeerNet package, which Tony, to give you some context on, we know everyone's been talking about SMS within the community. How do we do it? Apparently SeerNet, which we already have set up and everybody is already on, has an SMS contract package. And so Liz has done some investigating into what that means from other communities. And so that's what we're here to discuss today.
So it's actually very simple. The board president has to send an email to Grand Manners, letting them know that we would like to opt in for the SMS, and it will be $30 a month. So it's actually not even an addendum. The board president just has to send that email saying we want the SMS feature on SeerNet. So what we would do is put it to the board for approval. So we could put it to their workshop for approval, and then they'll officially approve it at a board meeting. I don't see why they wouldn't approve it.
So
It's a
what does
little-
what does that do for us?
It would enable SMS text message alerts on resident cell phone. So what would we use it for? We use it for important notifications, closures, board meeting.
So anybody who's given us their phone number in the community will get.
There's an opt-in process.
Yeah. So yeah,
Um,
I would, before it gets implemented, I think it would be something too that like our committee should provide recommendation on like the utilization, because I know some people will get like closure notices. That's a big deal. That like it also, I have a couple of questions for like once it goes through the process of like, do they have preference centers? How does the opt-in
Mhm.
process work?
Yeah.
So anything that you do have from the other community that's coming through that they've done would be awesome to see. But for $30 a month, I know initially we were exploring the Klaviyo option, which is through our email marketing platform, which would be hundreds.
Yeah.
That's what I was asking, because 30 seems so low. But
It
Yeah.
seems, yeah, and there's zero catches. Like, are there any limitations on the number of messages or the number of
Right.
contacts?
We still have to look into all that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I would say before I feel comfortable providing that full recommendation to the board, I would want to know, like, is the 30 a base? Does it slide? Like, where does it go to? And like, how much does that actually encompass?
Yeah. So hopefully by our next meeting, I'll have all that information.
Yeah, the other thing I might suggest in addition to what you said is getting the board to at least give an indication that they will approve it before we then start doing a whole lot more work to
Mhm.
discover how we would use it, how we would implement it, what, you know what I mean? So I want to put the cart, I want to put the
Mhm.
cart before the horse, but if the
Yeah.
board says, oh yeah, we're gonna approve that, then we can go ahead and do the work to say, here's how we suggest we use it.
Yeah.
So that's what that's, Katie, you can chime in here. That's what the workshop is for, right?
Well, also like, the board really wants the, and the, like, the way the resolution was written from and voted on and approved by the board, this is something that the board already says they are wanting this committee to help develop. And that stems from the report, the Communication Advisory Group's report from the community. So like, I don't know if you want to kind of like touch on what was found as far as like text messaging being like a preference from the
Mhm.
community.
Mhm.
So like we kind of, that research is there, the board saw that's important. So that we're kind of like asking the committee now to kind of like develop, like a strategy on how to implement that.
And
Right.
I think, and when is the
Which-
workshop?
With the board.
With the board.
Next Wednesday.
So before we send anything, I would honestly feel more comfortable knowing the specifics of like the limitations.
I agree.
Before we send it to them. But yeah, like we would want you guys to approve something first before we come back and provide any recommendations, because there's obviously going to be, with any like one of these like marketing technology programs, there's
Mhm.
gonna be time for initialization and setup and everything.
That makes sense.
Yeah.
So I guess then the first recommendation would be to look at this Syrinet and have that come to the board. Are you saying you want that approved before giving a recommendation on what it'd be utilized for, like which messages to be sent out?
So I know Diana, I saw you unmuted.
I did. My concern is we just need to review section 27, 23 to make sure that we're following all the laws the HOA has to follow. Because I'm sure there's some guidelines in there about what we can and can't do by text message, and I would want to know those right up front.
And there's also a couple of laws too with the way that we collect user data that we would want to go over as well, that are like federal laws too, to make sure that everything, which obviously like if this system's coming through Syrinet, I'm sure it's
Yeah.
fine. But I think that at least we know, one, that this is great, that there's the $30 potential opportunity, that there would be a much lower cost than expected. But I think after this, the next step would be getting that partner package, and I can send you the questions that we've all kind of had to vet with them, so that we're getting it officially from the source too. So then I would think it would probably be something for the next board meeting versus this workshop. Or, yeah,
So it would go in July's workshop.
July's workshop.
To discuss. The
Uh-huh.
goal is to kind of like discuss all these issues at the workshop, and then we've already discussed it, and then it goes on the board meeting agenda. So if you guys want to look at this, and then, yeah, we'd go to the July workshop, which
Okay.
is fine too.
What do you guys think? I personally think, like you said, Tony, making sure that we get everything done before we even present, and then we present, it gets approved, and then we have to roll back, because I think also as soon as people start hearing text message or SMS, or I can get on my phone versus having to go to my email, you're gonna have a lot of questions and a lot of, yeah.
There's a lot of,
And where are you sending what?
Yeah.
And now there's another communication platform that they have to manage, and
fortunately, there's a lot more questions than answers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Agreed.
so I think that's a good timeline.
It's a very good start, but thank you for looking into this. But after this, I'll send some follow-ups then from just basically accumulating what everybody from the committee has said.
Sounds good?
Cool. Does that sound good for everyone?
Yes.
Doug, I don't know if you had anything since, don't know if your mic is working.
Doug, if you want to type it in the
Oh,
chat,
he's
I
typing.
can read it.
Mic not working. Just wait for him for just a second. Then after his comments, we can go into our next piece, since we're moving along pretty well. But I'm listening intently and will comment when I have something brilliant to add.
Perfect.
Thank you, Doug. Okay, so then next, we'll move on to the partner program marketing contract terms. So you all should have a piece of paper, which, did you send this one out to Diane, Doug?
I can pull it up.
Yeah, we'll pull it up and can read it over, but this is something that we've started talking about and is also part of the charge for the committee is the discussion of how do we market partner programs, club programs, and town hall events. And so this is one of the pieces of it. And so Liz is going to go ahead and share her screen, but this is what the currently contracted marketing package is for a partner program. So Liz, I'll let you go ahead and.
Can you see my screen online, the Word document?
Yes, Doug says yes.
Okay.
Okay, and we got a thumbs
So
up.
no, okay,
So we're good.
all right, here we go. So I pulled this from one of the partner program contracts. It's their marketing package. Super small and simple, but they seem to be wanting more. So in their current contracts, it says CROA will provide one article and or photo inclusion as it relates to specified program in the celebration news at the editorial staff's discretion. So this past year, we started doing partner program spotlight in the magazine. So it's basically an article about the program and what they do in the community, what services they offer. So we started to do that this past year. The second CROA will provide 3 postings in the Friday Flash for program registrations, special event, or general information involving the program. So this is an annual contract. So that would mean only 3 times per year that they would get a post in the Friday Flash. So that's number 2. And number 3 is CROA will add your program information to the recreation program list and list of recreational programs on the Celebration Town Hall website. So right now on the things to do page on the Celebration website, it lists the programs, the partner programs, civic groups, organizations. So I can show you where that is.
That's under recreation and facilities?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then there in the Celebration News magazine, there's like a 3-page spread on the partner programs and what they offer. So this is the page that the partner programs are and other organizations are posted on. So this is what was in the partner programs contract. Tony, you weren't here last time. So
No.
last week, I have basically an outline for myself of how to market a partner program versus a civic group, etc., on the different platforms. So we have the Friday Flash. We get a ton of requests for flyers and information in the Friday Flash. We get requests for the magazine. We get requests for social media posts from different partner programs and organizations. So one of the resolutions is to provide an outline of how do we market these programs equally between everyone, and keeping in mind that the partner programs do a profit share with us, but then there's clubs that don't share any profit. So the partner programs should get more promotions, but then also we don't want to compete with CROA's events and programs.
So my one caveat here, which I think for looking at like what partner programs, sponsorships, things like that look like, this is not atypical. The only thing that I don't see in here is anything related to like posting on social media, which I know is being asked, but it's hard to be able to delineate what we're doing for clubs versus partners versus CROA without having the full breadth of that. Would that be something that we could look into?
You want to look at the
club contract, and then do we
Mhm.
have like a best practices guide for like what you guys do for, say, an event that's coming from town hall? Like number of social posts, number of inclusions in Flash, like the timing that the event goes on social, like,
I have it in my head.
okay, we should write that down.
So I'm sorry, forget. I'm gonna ask a lot of dumb questions.
Yes,
As I
ask away.
Get to learn a little bit, right? So all of the partners that we have, some are profits. What this suggests, right, is that each of them is entitled to these things.
Mhm.
So each of them would get potentially up to 3 postings for Friday
Mhm.
Flash through a year period, through a 12-month period. Is that what it is?
That's what the contracts are for. 1 year.
Okay. And like you said, some of them pay, some of them don't.
Mhm.
Am I assuming that the for-profit always have a fee and the not-for-profit always don't have a fee or,
For their program,
uh-huh,
um,
or sharing with Crow?
they have the ones that are partner programs do a profit share with Crow. The clubs,
No.
no.
Because they're not supposed to be collecting any money. Or do they collect money and just don't share?
I don't think they collect money.
The Parks and Rec, when they redid
Yeah.
their club, designations, I think it kind of spells it out.
Yeah.
So I can maybe like email out.
I
that
think we
list.
have that
Do
information.
you
That
have
was,
it?
that was one of the documents that was sent that tried to explain,
Okay.
if you're a
Like
club,
which-
you pay so much, if you're, you know,
Uh-huh.
they had all the
and,
breakdowns
like,
of all the
what you're
fees.
entitled to as far as like rental space and
Right.
everything like that. Mhm. And now this is for kind of like helping, I think it sounds like it's this around the same lines as like the way Parks and Recs developed that strategies for things to be fair and equitable for all the different programs, organizations. This is like a way now we can do it with like
The
marketing.
Do you get plenty of requests for this? Is it an overload of people requests, or are we looking for them to have more inclusions in the, you know?
It's not an overload, but some organizations will request more and some organizations will request for longer promotions than others.
And yeah, that's something I think that definitely needs to be streamlined. But I still, my brain goes to, I'm not sure what's going on for clubs and I'm not sure what we're doing for like our own events. And I think before we're able to ladder, what we're doing for partner, what are we doing for ourselves? Because I know like, again, not that you or anyone who does comms, a town hall is leaving anytime soon, but like a big thing is like putting down all of those SLAs of like, what do you do from start to finish
Mhm.
of an event execution from a marketing perspective?
Yeah.
Like getting that on paper would be really helpful.
It's probably no surprise, right, that some clubs are more active than others, some organizations are more
Mhm.
active than others, some are gonna be more proactive and or, you know, I'll use the word aggressive in a good way, of trying to get their message out and using
Mhm.
these vehicles. And that's why I asked the question about utilization, because I'm like, hey, if we have the room, right, if there's availability, if you will, and nobody's tapping into it, and one or two of these groups are better about using it, well, let them use it, right?
Yeah.
Why limit them?
Yeah.
If they're, as long as they're not taking the space that should rightfully go to someone else,
Mhm.
if there's space and nobody's using it, I'd rather see it filled than not filled, right?
Agree.
So,
And I do think this things to do page is on here. I didn't know this actually existed. This is really nice. But I think that making these partner programs more aware of like you are permanently on our website and maybe being able to do some additional like posting from town hall of just acknowledgement of what's here would also be a bolster to the contract.
I actually put that in the Monday Matters last week. Last week,
Yeah, it's
just
great.
to guide people here. But so I'll put together what we do for CROA, our marketing plan for
Mhm.
our events. And then we'll go from there.
which
And I'll look into what the club's contracts say, if it's different than the partner programs, the clubs and civic groups.
your point about process, of documenting the processes, obviously.
Yeah, and I mean, it's something too that it can be a living document because if you or Amber see anything of like, we posted this Facebook event 2 months ahead of an event versus 1 month ahead of an event and it
Mhm.
performed like things like that, that you sense, obviously one of the things that we are charged to do also is help you guys with KPIs is, that's something we can look into in the future too. But yeah. Fabiola, do you have any?
No, I'm
Crunch.
fine.
Okay.
I'm fine.
And Diana or Doug? I know Doug, you said you had put of your brilliant insights in chat, but do you guys have
Yes,
anything?
we're waiting for your brilliance.
Yeah,
Like-
I agree that I think this would, be a good partnership to continue on if there's extra space to use. I know you mentioned that they have the they have the pages where they list all these partner programs in the Celebration magazine that comes out
Yeah.
once a month. That's very, very repetitive. I don't know if you've looked at it, it's the
Mhm.
same thing month after month, and I think it probably just gets turned past. So I don't know if
Uh-huh.
that's something that it's very repetitive.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, that could be something to be looked into if that's something eventually in the future to reconfigure.
Yes, that would be, that I agree. That is a future investigation,
Yeah.
but
I
yeah.
mean, it's
Future
it's something
But we
too, like
want-
we've talked,
yeah.
we talked about like the QR codes and like getting more and more people over to the website since the website is functional now. That could be something. That'd be a discussion of like optimizations for the magazine at some point.
Well, and if our partner programs are successful, we're successful because they're profit sharing, so.
Agree.
Right. Well, I think the gist of it is that, you know, their information could change a lot depending on their schedules and when their season is and when they meet. So it's just a general information, how to contact that group or program. But we can definitely look at that in the future. Even just, okay, this month it looks this way and this month it looks this way. So it's still
Yeah.
catching your eye. Well, but yeah,
Yeah, that was all that I had really on that, just more exploratory.
awesome.
So then if nobody has anything else, we can move on to our next one, which is the brand guide agency SOW. So do you mind pulling that up for the folks online? So this is last week we looked over a brand guide that had been created by Patterson Bach Communications, who is local to the Orlando area, and just had some questions before we actually started digging into the brand guide of what were they briefed on, what is the SOW, what the whole process, and kind of what are the entirety of the deliverables that come from it. So Liz, I'll let you go into detail on this one.
So I didn't bring this up last time, but I want to bring it up now. This is our old brand guide. With the color palette, logos.
Do you mind sending this to everyone? Because yeah, one of the big things that I did notice,
I'm gonna go back up.
yeah, with the current brand guide, which this is something obviously that we'll parse through a little bit more before the next meeting, is from what they delivered us, which is why we asked for the SOW, they really didn't provide us like any of the logo lockup pieces of like utilization of the logo, like do's and don'ts, which should always be in a brand guide. And I know they said like the brand style guide will be print and digital ready files. Like things like this should be in there. Even if it is repetitive, it still needs to be what it's going to be under utilization with
Right.
the new brand and with the new fonts and everything. If that's what we decide to go with.
Yeah, so I just wanted to show you the old one. And kind of where we want to go with the new one.
How old is the old?
Probably over 10 years. Yeah, over 10 years old.
And there was nothing done for the, you know, big anniversary?
There was just a logo
Yeah,
for
the
the
logo
25th.
lockup.
Yeah. It was a kind of the 25th logo. So basically, this needs updating. So we had reached out, management had reached out to 3 different vendors, and we decided to go with Patterson Bach to create our updated brand guide. And then on here is the scope of work. Designing and creating an updated stationery package, form template.
What is the form template? Is that digital forms or is it like the written form?
Like they'll provide digital.
Print ready.
And,
Okay.
yeah, print ready digital files and digital files, updated stationery package, print ready files and digital files. So it's both. So
But no,
What?
no discussion about a logo redesign, right?
No, so
no,
the,
the logo will stay the same. Yeah. So we haven't gotten to this point yet because we've only received 1 draft from them. We've already paid for their services, so they're our vendor for this.
Mhm.
And what I would like to do is once we dig deep into the brand guide, have this company will recreate like our top 5 most used forms at the front desk.
okay,
So like the dog park registration form, the Crow ID card form, the forms that are most used. So they'll create those templates and then we can use those templates for the communications team to update the rest of the forms.
and for like the digital files, did they say how they would be delivering those? Because my one caution whenever someone says digital files is like what type it is, like, is it
Yeah.
going to be in INDB format that you guys are not gonna be able to edit because I'm sure we don't have an Adobe license?
No, we do have an
Or do
Adobe
we have
license,
Photoshop
but
or,
we have Photoshop. Yeah.
okay,
We have Photoshop, Illustrator.
okay,
But he can do PDF, Word, they can do the ones that are easily editable.
okay,
And I did actually email him. Yeah, Friday. What day is it? Monday. I sent him an email on Friday. His name's Tim. He is more than willing to join one of our meetings.
But I'm curious, how much direction did we give them in terms of what was the direction?
yeah, that was my question, what was specifically brief?
How creative are we asking them to be? I mean, there's one thing to just update the document, that's fairly straightforward.
Yeah.
But I'm almost thinking, well, why not give them a free rein to give us something cool and jazzy and newer feeling and all that? I mean, not suggesting a redesign of the logo, the color palettes, just making it look more.
Let me go grab this for you. Let me.
Oh,
You didn't see it yet. Let me go
No,
grab it.
so the
Go
big,
grab it.
the big thing that they did update besides the main brand color were the brand colors to make them a little bit more modern. And then they updated the type font from the one that they have, which is more of like a sans serif to its Poppins. I believe Fabiola has the guide, and then they created 6 versions of potential stationery and business card options. But yeah, we don't specifically know what was briefed besides that. And my only concern too is like with the reason I was asking about digital files is our team is strapped bandwidth wise. They don't need to be editing Photoshop files. Like, it should be digital files. I know Amber uses Canva.
Yeah.
It should be something that a lot of digital agencies have moved to. Canva is a really solid platform for those who want to do digital design and want to make designs, but do not have the prowess to do Photoshop or Illustrator. That would be like a big ask, because if you guys are going to need to be editing things, it would be much easier for them to create these digital files for you in a file format that she's also readily utilizing on a
Mhm.
daily basis. So that would just be one of my questions, but if he's willing to come to a committee meeting, I know, did they give a timeline of like when they wanted work completed? Or is that
No,
completely up to us?
I've had this on hold for many months. I've been waiting for you all.
I want to talk about something that, or take decisions about all the communication media of celebration. I think it's very important to know all the media that celebration has. For example, the website. I know the design is not the best, including the logo, but I think we are taking decisions of very small part of a very big
Mhm.
machine that we don't know. For example, we need to know what we are doing in social media, for example, Facebook, the website, the communication with the logo, with all the marketing. We don't know exactly what is going on. And this is a big decision that for me is very good to know what were the commands to do this, because I think I'm imagining that the commands was making something modern, but I don't see anything about the modern here, because the logo is the same. So the logo is the number one.
Mhm.
So I only see just color changes that is very heavy, because using a paper with a background with color immediately is heavy for the eyes.
Mhm.
So I think I'm trying to follow all the decisions, but we don't know all the machine. We need to know. We need to know the design of the website, with implementing the logo there, the Facebook, and all the media that Celebration is managing.
Mhm.
This is just one detail.
Diana, Doug, do you have anything about the briefing?
I'd
I
be
know.
interested, I would be interested when they come in to talk with us to give them a little bit more guideline. There's only certain thing, and the board will have to get the approvals on this. If we make any dramatic changes, I think the joint committee would have to approve if there's any, to change the logo, which we're not talking about, but if whatever changes, I think the board would have to make sure that those are approved. Because there may be other people that have say so in that from from Celebration Company.
Mhm.
Oh,
For
yeah.
the
I mean,
marketing.
I think a logo redesign affects probably every shop owner in town.
I
And
don't think that that's.
they got
on the table.
t-shirts, they got all kinds of stuff, right? So we're not talking about that, but I
No.
agree 100%
Well,
with what you said.
I don't know how far down that goes, whether it's just the logo. It's been a while since I've read those guidelines, but is it just the logo that they're responsible for, or is it for the whole scheme, the whole brand guideline and style guideline? But yeah, we would have to research that and see what we can and can't change and update. I know that last brand thing is very old. It's been there a long time.
Well, the package that they've, I guess, put together that you just handed me and that you have a copy of, it shows that they, like you said, they've done a rethink on the color schemes.
Mhm.
Okay, so they look a little bit more modern, but not a whole lot of change.
Modernize the font.
They modernized the font,
Yeah.
and then they provided like 12 different alternatives on designing the cards and different looks of what the cards can be. Very heavy, like you said, on greens and blacks and some pictures. The pictures in my mind make it look very old immediately because that's just the way things were done before
Yeah.
in marketing and so forth. And they use a lot of beiges and tans as opposed to whites and more pure colors, right? But I don't see anything here that's, like you said, I agree with you, Flavia. It doesn't smack me as, oh, this is really cool. Right?
Yeah.
It just looks
Yes.
okay, it just doesn't look cool, right?
Yeah.
And I'm wondering if we want to give them a chance to get a little creative. Maybe they're thinking we're not that cool.
Yeah, I mean,
So I,
yeah,
the direction that I gave them was, here's our old brand guide. We want something new and modern. This is Celebration. Here's some pictures of the town, and that's where they
Okay.
went.
okay.
So I know Doug said showing examples of how the design revisions would be used, etc. It just seems like an update of the branding guide itself and not the specific application. So I didn't want to have the company redo some forms before we looked at this and said, talk to TCC, and I didn't want to move any more forward.
And that's why I wanted to know
So-
what was said, because again, I'm sorry to keep asking questions, but as a new.
No, you're okay.
Whenever I've established, we established brand guides, right? You give the agency a vision of the messaging you wanting to portray, right? Because you want your brand to portray who you
Yeah.
want people to think of you as.
Mhm.
So the question I guess I'm asking for us and for the board is, have we thought about that? Have we thought about what we want the world to think of Celebration going forward, right?
That's a great point. I don't think that that's been discussed really, especially at the advent of the 25.
Because
Yeah,
so we could either be the good old fashioned Celebration with all good old fashioned values and family values and hearken to the past. That's valid. Or we can be that uber modern, there's two extremes, right? The uber modern of trying to appeal to the younger generation. We just have to decide what is it that we want to look like? Who are we trying to attract? Who we're trying to appeal to? And if the answer is we want to appeal to everybody, well, that's a strategy too, but that's going to be harder for a creative agency. Here's something that appeals to everyone. But if we haven't defined that for an agency, then it's a little bit hard for them to
Yeah.
give us anything
Yeah.
that's gonna, because we haven't defined it for
So
ourselves.
that's where we're at. It hasn't
Yeah.
been defined.
and I think it could also be because, you've been working with them directly and basically said like, here's what we're kind of looking for. But now that we're established, we can have a meeting with them and actually tell them based on feedback that we've gotten from the community too, what are people actually looking for in what is the brand of Celebration?
And I'm wondering, maybe it's a little homework or that we can ask our board to help us, guide us with, right? Could you put in your agenda on the board to spend a little bit of time to have a brainstorm discussion amongst each other to say, who are we and who do we want to be going forward? What do we want our brand to say about us? What words do we want it to speak to people, right? Oh, it's a modern, vibrant community, or it's an old-fashioned family values community. What do we want it to say? And when the board speaks on behalf of us and says, we think we want to be this, they'll be taking into account feedback we've gotten in all the
Or you
assessments.
could, you guys could kind of even put together a short little survey that we could send out to the community with some ideas, like through SurveyMonkey, and get some.
That might be fun too.
feedback.
That might be fun too.
The
Also,
community, talk about the brand.
Just to kind of like what the vision would be
Yeah, the
going forward,
vision.
like what Tony was mentioning, like, do you want to keep it kind of like where we're at currently? And you can kind of give an example, some words and examples, and then you can maybe give some others that you all think would be
Yeah.
appropriate, and then kind of like maybe let the
What's the
community.
vibe, right? What's the
Yeah.
vibe?
and I don't think we've done that in a very long time because the master planning survey didn't have that. The communications wants and needs survey didn't have that. And then like the prior amenities survey, none of those had.
But you know what does speak to that? Think about the look and feel of the new area of Celebration. And think of the look and feel of the new clubhouse in Celebration. Think of the look and feel of even the new Publix in that whole area there. Compare that to I'll call it now the old Publix. And it's night and day, right? One is old and tired. The other one is kind of cool and modern,
You say it.
right? And so who do we want? Right now we're both, but who do we want people to think of as going forward, right? So anyway.
Because once you touch the brand, everything is going to change because the colors you have to change in all the media, in Facebook, the website. So we have to be very careful. And maybe we can take our own analysis
Mhm.
about all the social media or the media that is doing the marketing for us. That is Facebook. We have a celebration back.
Back porch.
And that's an
Yes.
unofficial.
Yes, it's
Yeah.
unofficial, but it's very informative. Yes,
It's also
use it
very
every
dangerous. It's
day.
also very dangerous.
So
Yeah.
Fabiola, the
So-
communications team manages the website content, the social media pages, which is Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. We create the flyers.
Yes, the magazine.
I
We-
think Doug has a couple comments too.
Yeah, Doug,
And Doug has been very much, our branding needs to say, what has anyone, and the answer to that, Doug, is no. No one has articulated the vision of what we are. It's more been, it's tactical at this point.
I think what Kathy just suggested, if I don't want to put words in your mouth, Kathy, but is I said, well, gosh, let's ask the board. And she's saying, well, why don't
That's
you
the
guys,
community.
why don't you guys ask
They're
the
gonna
community?
say,
right?
yeah.
So we can either push it to the board or pull it from the board, or
Yeah.
a little bit of both, right? Maybe you can bring it to the board as, hey, they're struggling with this in the committee and we're trying to figure out,
Yeah.
but maybe you have some thoughts about it too. Somehow we got to triangulate on who are we and who do we
Yeah.
want people to see us? as, right?
Here's an idea that kind of combines all of that. The workshop topic of what is celebration, what defines celebration and the vision, and then the I don't think it should be directly coming from the committee of development of a survey, but creation of, based on our survey responses, getting community input. And that could even be something too that like the town hall Facebook page could post up. When you think about celebration, what do you think? And people organically you guys can aggregate all of those responses. But I think this would be something good for the board to begin doing. Yeah, we want our branding to say what about celebration.
Mhm.
I like that, Doug. But yeah, that could be our request to the board to workshop how best to do that since we have not ever really done that.
Or we can workshop.
Well, they actually have a so it would be at their board workshop that they would bring it up of like what they would want to do for the mechanism. Would it be survey? How would it be? And then we can workshop all of that ourselves to then go to, I keep forgetting their name, Patterson Bach, to say, we know that you got briefed on, these are the specific things that we want for brand guidelines, but here's what we need you to do in terms of like vision. And also, I would love to chat with them too about this SOW, because I think if we do start going further into like the vision piece, digital communication pieces, so like how would they potentially help us update the Friday Flash or the Monday Matters templates, social media templates to get more cohesiveness there?
I will say, like, if that's the direction you want, like, to give, for the board to discuss in a workshop, which way to go about getting that feedback, that's good. But, I'll just say, up front, like this board is very big on empowering the committees
Yeah.
and taking the recommendations you guys provide. So if you have thoughts on how it should be, I mean, the board wants to hear that from you, not necessarily like,
It's good.
Yeah.
We should workshop it. I think we should workshop.
I mean, that's basically what we're
Yeah.
hoping.
So then
it together.
maybe what we could do, again, I'm not sure like what is all included in this SOW, is have Patterson Bach there too. Because they're gonna be our creative partners in all of this, and they may be able to come, messaging workshops. So it'd basically be a messaging and branding
Those are
workshop.
fun exercise.
Yeah.
For anybody who's ever named a product.
Yeah.
It's a fun thing.
It's
to
a
do.
Great for the community even to come and.
Yeah, because then we could have owner comments and
Yeah.
feedback in a structured forum. We could also, I mean, I personally don't think that there's any issue with, we're saying like, we're working on modernizing the branding of Celebration. What do you think about Celebration when you say the town of Celebration, Florida? That could even be something on social that we could do ahead of the workshop, but would we be able to do that? Maybe, I know like we've had 2 meetings now and, but would that be something we could maybe look at before the July meeting with Patterson Bach for like a quick communications workshop?
Let me get some dates that he's available.
Okay.
And I have one question, just for my own record. How much has been paid so far?
To kind of get this started.
The total,
Yes,
there,
and if you have the approximate.
it's 3,000 something. I think it was 3,250.
And what, do you know, like around what that included, what they presented,
That included,
the booklet?
yeah, so that's version 1.
Uh-huh.
And then, a few form redesigns, probably like 5 form redesigns.
Yeah, so that budget may not accommodate for a whole lot more.
Right,
Yeah.
That's a very small budget.
right.
Which is fine.
Which is fine. We could just see like what they would be willing to do, or if not, I have led brand workshops before, so I'd be happy to build out some exercises too. If they can't.
Okay.
So, but I still think that it would be nice to have like a little bit of their input since they are the agency of record for all of this.
Mhm.
Yeah. But Diana, I know Doug, thank you for your comments. We're seeing them come through quickly. Diana, do you have anything?
The only thing I would add.
No,
to-
I agree with the workshop because I think then we can kind of hash all this out specifically and talk through where we want to go with it. So yeah, I would like to see the agency there. If they can't, though, we could workshop it with us, and then maybe eventually even do a coordinated workshop with the board or attend one of their workshops.
Yeah, I would only add to what Diane's saying that I would encourage us to keep it simple.
Mhm.
Meaning, in this committee and the people who are around, most of us, all of us homeowners and have ideas, and that's what we're sitting.
Mhm.
And so when we start opening up to try to ask 1,000 people what they think, you're gonna get 1,000 responses. So not saying we don't do that, but I'm wondering if we do it first ourselves, come up with some basis, and then have people respond to what you have as opposed to just give you a ton of ideas. It just trying to say, we can, this could open up Pandora's box.
Oh, it
which we're
definitely
not
can.
trying to do, right? I think we're
Survey
trying
would
to
help
just-
with that.
I mean, we all know the words that we hear when our families come. Oh, it's such a quaint town. There's a word, quaint, right? There's a lot of other words that people use to describe our town.
Mhm.
You start putting those words on a board
Mhm.
and start thinking about it and brainstorming in the kitchen of the mind kind of stuff, saying which of those words resonate most with where we want to be in the future.
Yeah. So to do something like that too, which I think today would be challenging. Also, like we still do have a couple of committee members who haven't been able to really join or vocalize any of like what they're doing. I could put together a couple of digital exercises for us to start doing that to aggregate our thoughts about everything. Because yeah, I know there's also from going through like the prior survey about like what people want to see communications wise, there are some things that people commented there as well that we can pull out and put into that. And then make a consensus on if we wanted a further workshop or if we wanted a survey. So if the board is going to push back on us that they want us to do the work, then it might as well be we just start doing it now and then be able to be more prepared for you guys in
I
the coming
think
months.
it's more like, you're kind of like the experts here.
Yeah, they're interested in
Right,
the
yes,
committee.
So, yeah, so we value your guys' expertise rather than just kind of like our opinions on this, we want to hear what you have to say. And also the community, however you think that's best as well too.
Mhm.
Okay. Well, then after this, can regroup and send along a few things for us to start looking into this, but, yeah.
I'll look at dates on the calendar.
Okay, yeah, and we can.
I'll look at workshop dates.
We can even decide, you know, after we go through everything, there could be something that turns into a massive brain blast and ends up turning into something we do want to just directly send idea wise over to Patterson Bach. So, and then for the TCC comments that we had last week, what specifically still is going to need to be pushed by them before anything can really go to the board for approval?
I have to get with Lauren.
Okay.
I'm not sure.
So I think we do need those answers too before we workshop anything. So for additional context, Tony, TCC is going to have to pretty much approve any of this. So we want to make sure that we're doing due diligence up front versus we get all the way with a concept that we're all in love with and they say no.
Say no.
They say no. So just more of doing that diligence. And if you need any help with that,
Yeah.
let me know.
But even in the absence of, you know, making drastic changes to our plan, thinking through who we want to be and how we want to be perceived as a community going forward informs how we communicate, what we communicate, what we write, what we don't write. So that's probably a good exercise for us to do.
Well, that's a
Yeah.
perfect segue into our next topic, actually.
Yeah, that is actually a really good thing.
No charge.
You were on it,
No.
Tony.
So,
Free
this
charge.
This one was a new one that Liz came up with today, which I think is a really, really good
Yeah.
one, since there are also some holidays currently going on that we might want to
Yeah.
discuss. So,
So, on our social media pages, we like to, you know, announce the holidays, announce the national whatever months. So we just have to be careful with religion and political topics. So what we're looking for is feedback on what do we post, what do we not post in regards to national holidays, social awareness months and days. Basically, you know, we want to be, you know, inclusive. So my communications coordinator and I, we going back and forth about different days and different topics. We just want some guidance on what do we post, what do we not post in regards to those national months, those religious holidays. What is, you know, we're a homeowners association, so what should homeowners associations be posting about holidays and those awareness months?
so I see Diana,
it's
you,
a-
I
it's a
see you
tough
unmuted
one.
yourself.
My first thought is stick with the national holidays or Florida state holidays. But then you factor in things like breast cancer awareness, which leads to one of our, 5 pillars of health, or,
Uh-huh.
all the other things. So I think it's kind of a deeper question. Are you, and I don't know that I've seen anything, but are you posting about more of the social awareness days? I don't see anything. I don't know that I've seen that.
Not recently,
Mm-hmm.
not recently, like it's Pride Month, so do we post about Pride Month? Juneteenth is coming up. Do we post about Juneteenth?
Well, Juneteenth isn't it a national holiday now, or it's a
Yep,
definitely?
Juneteenth.
It's federal.
Yeah, Juneteenth is a federal holiday as of
Yeah.
2021, I think. Yeah.
Yeah.
We
So that's
mainly, yeah. We mainly post the, the regular holidays, Easter, Christmas,
Hanukkah and so forth.
Hanukkah. But do we go further?
I think Diane is exactly correct. You know, when just before COVID hit, we saw the Black Lives Matter movement and all sorts of things. I had so many company boards of directors ask me to advise them on what position do we take on Black Lives Matter, or what position do we take on the Me Too issue, right? And the whole Me Too, you know, and the boards are trying to struggle with, should we take a position publicly on this? And I said, are you a social engineering company or are you a pharmaceutical company? In this case, I was talking to a pharmaceutical. And they're a pharmaceutical company. So what do you have to do with Black Lives Matter? It's not part of your mission. It's not part of who you are. So why do you feel you have to take a position on it? You can just stay agnostic on it. That doesn't mean you stay silent, it means you stay agnostic.
Mhm.
So one easy way to do that is you only have to recognize the things that we as a community nationally have decided to recognize. And that way you avoid the political ramifications of taking positions on something else. Do I like it? No. Do I like National Hispanic Awareness Month? Yeah, I like a fiesta like everybody else. Do I think we should, talk about, all the other diversity groups and so forth? Yes, there's a place for that.
Mhm.
And I don't think it's in the official documentation of Celebration Homeowner Association.
Oh.
But if somebody wants to have a club, for the gay, lesbian, transgender
Yeah.
community, God bless you, do it, right? And we should support those kinds of things. But I don't think we have to be writing about them.
I completely agree. I do a lot of social media consultancy, and like Tony said, when you're thinking about every company or organization, you think about targeted audiences too. And for us, like our main messaging is of being the town that we are.
Mhm.
Like I would love to see something posted for Pride Month, but I know like that's also something that not everyone necessarily wants to see on the town hall page when they're looking more for, like, I know that there was, I forget what year it was, that there was a debate on Back Porch about why are we posting food holidays constantly, or why are we
Like
posting
Licorice Day or something?
yes,
It wasn't.
and like this isn't relevant to me. This isn't pertinent to me. And the big thing too is while it's fun, it also algorithmically you're going to start seeing less and less of the critical posts and things that we need to be posting about. And so following very much guidelines of like if it is a Florida affiliated or it's a federal holiday, yes, we should be. And again, like I would say even to like a lot of the religious holidays that we do have individuals in the community celebrating, or that we are doing, say, events for downtown or the things like that. But
Mhm.
if you start getting, as I currently have a client who wants every single possible silly holiday posted ever, and we've shown them statistically what is happening to their social presence and the critical things that we want people to see
Uh-huh.
are being overshadowed by National Polly Pocket Day, like things like that. So I completely agree with Tony. It's like it's knowing your audience and knowing the target. And for us, while we do appreciate all these other months and days and things, if they directly tie or connect to an event that we're doing, that's different. But in general, of like developing a social content calendar where the majority of the days are taken over by fun or awareness days, typically just muddles your feet and isn't good practice.
Perfect. Doug, do you have anything online?
Can you share those rules with engagement? Do you think we can check the holidays of the year together and choose which one we want to?
I can print a list. I can send.
And I have
You probably have lists.
I have a very
For your consulting.
I have a very comprehensive one that I'll pull together probably with everything by end of day Wednesday, so that you guys have everything. But yeah, there's definitely like rules, and also it very
That
much
would be
depends on
great.
your business. So like a prime example, I consult
Yeah.
for an education consulting company. We do every single holiday that would directly relate to something that would be a teacher or an educator.
Right.
And then all the federal holidays. So for like us, if it's anything that would be specifically related to community, that's one
Holiday
thing.
home,
Yeah. Which I
Or
know,
an event.
Fire Awareness Month.
yes, like
or
those
week,
type of things.
Whatever it is. That
Yes.
applies to homeowners.
Yep.
Things like that, I think we can certainly include. I think starting with Diane said exactly like at the beginning. You start with the national holidays, that's easy, right? Because national holidays are national holidays, and we have a list of those, and everybody,
Yes.
and it's not political, it's a national holiday. I would argue maybe some bank holidays, but they're bank holiday and national holidays, the same thing. And then some specialty holidays that are related to homeowners, that would make some sense, right? If you look at that, maybe
Yeah.
your point is, let's review those together and say,
Yes.
this one, not this one. so
And
forth.
say this yes, this no.
I'm putting it on my to-do list to pull that
Oh,
down
thank you.
by
That
Wednesday.
should be a pretty straightforward thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that again, like there's a lot of schools have thought of it because there's also people who do social media content creation and do every single day of the year because they think you should be providing attention to every single group. It's like, but at the end of the day, for us being a town, we're wanting to promote events, we're wanting to promote amenities and, like these partner programs and other things. The more that we have in the feed, the less times that those are actually going to be able to be seen.
I agree. That's great input. Thank you so much.
Yeah, to say something fun. When I arrived to Celebration 3 years ago, I access to the Facebook activities, and one day it was I think hot dog day, and Celebration put a post about free hot dogs in a restaurant, for example, and I say, oh my God, this neighborhood is very fun. It's very easy,
The
it's
hot dogs
decent.
brought you here.
And yes, and I say, this is cool.
That's a phenomenal example, actually, of say, hypothetically, we did have like an LGBTQ club in Celebration who is doing a specific event. You could post it on the town hall page if it was something that was like a partner club or like affiliated. And then it would be like a cross post, but like for hot dog day, if there's, whatever other days, cheeseburger day or something coming up, the diner does a special since it's something promoting in the community,
Right.
cross post it. We
Right.
don't have to do something ourselves. And then that also saves you and Amber time. And it also provides additional engagement for them. So,
Awesome.
yeah, but I think, Doug has said recognizing events that support an organization's values is the bottom line. And then Diana, are you good? Do you have anything else you want to add?
No, I'm good. Thank you.
Cool. Thank you, guys. Then if no one has anything else for this, we can go into owner comments, which I see we have Paul on the line. Okay, well, silence is golden. So then, the next is leaving committee comments and open discussion. Does anyone have any comments or anything they'd like to add?
Did you want to talk about a workshop at Tech?
That was the only thing I was going to bring up, but I was going to let everyone else.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have any comments to add?
Yeah.
I thought it's. Oh, no, well, I want to look.
Would it help you, Fabiola, if I listed out all the platforms that we manage?
Yes, please.
Okay.
We manage the magazine too, right?
Mhm.
Yes, the magazine, everything that is communication.
Mhm.
So we can take a look. And I know, for example, that the Facebook site is, we have a lot of celebration on official sites.
Yeah.
And people tend to get information. Maybe we can see it and see why those sites are so interesting and why we are like very official. Maybe we can evaluating all the messages in all the platforms is very important. So I know Instagram, Facebook, Twitter. I never see what Twitter celebration Twitter. So and the magazine, right?
No, Instagram.
Huh?
We don't post a whole ton on the celebration Twitter, but we do have one.
Okay.
But that may be something else for us to consider. Should we even have one, right? Or should we limit the platforms that we say we're gonna be really, really good at this? And that's what we're gonna use.
Our,
We don't try to be everywhere to everybody. Right?
Yeah.
I mean,
That was actually in our advisory group's recommendations was to do consolidation. So that could be
That's funny,
something. The next,
because the communications professional that we were working with during the action plan said Twitter has gone to the negative, and
Yeah.
do you even want,
Twitter is, yeah, it frankly, I mean, and this is something that we should put on our next agenda to discuss to then have the board approve like removal of platforms, but it's definitely one that there's a reason companies have pulled all their marketing.
Sure.
I work with a couple of clients on it, and it's the most pointless platform at this point, unless you are a very specific niche.
has Celebration ever used LinkedIn for anything?
No, I don't think we've never used LinkedIn. I know that individual employees of Grand Manners have like posted about Celebration, but no, we don't have an actual page ourselves.
Oh, and I love the way they branded the new celebration. They do a very modern work with that. We look a little dated comparing.
Like at the Island Village amenities.
And I got very much. You can say that too.
Anyone else? Any other final thoughts or anything?
Dinner time?
No?
If anybody thinks of an agenda item before our next meeting, email me and we'll get it on there. Or if you have any questions about like Fabiola, I'm gonna send all the platforms to everybody, any questions like that. So that you can be more familiar with what my team does, please let me know.
And I'll be sending over some questions and a few things. And then also be on the lookout. We'll get your personal email on the list, but be out on the lookout for a doodle poll to go through potential dates and times for a joint meeting with the technology committee. There's going to be, so one thing that was originally on the agenda that was moved is we're doing a demo of a application called ONR, which will be for some push notifications, Parks and Rec related items. And so Jose, who's the director of technology, is going to review that with us. And that subcommittee also needs a little bit more information about it. So there will be more to come on that, as well as I know it's still in discussion phases, but a lot of the technological functions of the website were originally in the technology committee's purview, and they would like to move those over to us. And so there's some discussions happening there that we want to discuss with them, and also with Jose, who is their liaison from Grand Manners. So
And the ONR app, I don't know if I mentioned this last meeting. The ONR app will be used for the new forum that was on the website. It will be the software for the new resident forum. Which the communications committee is gonna have to have input on that and how it's monitored and things like that.
But no one has anything else. Thank you guys for the time, and thank you for having a meeting so quickly after our first one last week. But with that, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So motion.
Okay, do we have a second? Okay, Fabiola, second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. And we are adjourned at 7:02. Thank you, guys.
Very efficient.
Thank
What are we
you.
gonna do with these extra 28 minutes?
I'm gonna go eat. 'Cause I'm